I want you to do something with me right now before we start. Think of a last argument that you had with your husband or wife, and that specific one that set it off, like how it ended. Got it? Good. Now think of the next one, like 6 months ago or a year ago. They are the same, aren't they? Same topic, same point where everything stalls, same war, maybe different words, maybe different time of the day, but the pattern is identical. Most of the marriages that just had how it goes, the couples argue about the same thing. But in marriages where one or both of you have a different wired brain, those loops are stronger, deeper, harder to break, because this is just not a personality, it's neurobiology. So today I'm explaining why. And I promise you one thing, after this episode you will look at your next argument completely differently. So let's go. Oh, actually, before we go further, this is the second of 5 episodes in a series about neurodiversity in marriage. And if you haven't listened to the first one, go back to it and after this episode, because this is the foundation of everything now we're talking about. And if you're not subscribed yet, well, hit that button now. Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, wherever we are, each episode in this series builds on the last, and you don't want to miss what's coming next week. So, oh, and one more thing. Send this episode to someone who keeps having the same argument with their partner year after year. This might be the episode that finally explains why. So, let's go. In the first episode, we talked about recognition, about saying, that's me or that's my partner, about ADHD and autism spectrum, about masking. And if after that episode you thought, okay, I get that my brain or my partner's brain works differently, but why? Why do I react this way? I do? Why this is the same argument keep coming back? That's exactly what this episode is about. So, neurobiology, but in plain language, no jargon, no lecture. I want you to understand one thing by the end of this 30 minutes. Hope not, but the way your partner behaves or the way you behave isn't the attack, and it's just the mechanism, and mechanisms can be understood, and once you understood, you can change it. So what happens in your brain when the emotions take over? So imagine a smoke alarm in your house. When it detects smoke, it goes immediately. And loud, no questions asked. It just doesn't wait for you to check whether there is actual fire or you just burn the toast. There's a structure in your brain that works the same way. It's called the amygdala. It's your internal alarm when your brain reads a threat, and a threat can be a raised voice, a change of a plan, criticism, or even sarcasm. The amygdala actually fires the alarm instantly before you have time to think. And it matters in neurotypical brains that alarm has a delay. The brain managed to filter the signal and say, well, easy, it's just a toast, right? Turn off the alarm. But in the neurodivergent brains, especially with ADHD, that filter is a bit slower, and the alarm fires faster and louder while the brakes kick in late. So remember the metaphor from the first episode? A car with a powerful accelerator that slows brakes. And that's exactly what's happening here, just from the neurobiology side. So now the autism spectrum variant, this works a bit differently, because brain on the spectrum doesn't so much start faster as take it more at the front end. So sounds like touch and partner's tone of voice, their facial expressions, the kids making noise in the next room, or the TV is running, and it comes in at once, and the brain doesn't automatically sort out what matters from that doesn't. So when your partner on a spectrum suddenly shuts down mid-argument, it's not indifference. Their brain is just flooded. Literally, it will process everything, but it needs time. And masking, this becomes the battleground. This brings us to the masking I talked about in the first episode. But now I want you to understand it a bit better, because masking explains why the neurodivergent partner blows up specifically at home. The neurodivergent person with the ADHD, so the AUDHD, on a spectrum or both, spends the entire day at work pretending to be neurotypical or normal, and controlling reactions, suppressing impulses, monitoring the tone of voice, facial expression, and eye contact. Pretending the open plan office noise doesn't bother them. That's the plan. Changing at 1 o'clock didn't trigger panic. So 89% of adults with ADHD experience stigmatization in a daily life. That's from research of Ginnap and colleagues at Yale of the University of Illinois, Chicago, published this in 2023. Nearly all of them mask. Now imagine this: you come home after 8 hours of pretending to be someone else, and you spent everything, all your energy. There's no capacity left to control anything. So, and someone says something like, anything, the alarm goes off, and this time there is no brakes, because the brakes run off at, for example, 5 o'clock. And your partner, neurotypical, looks at you and thinks like, oh, he's fine at work, but with me he acts like a child. Something isn't right. He doesn't care. Now, he's just empty. He explodes at home because it's the only safe place, the only place where he doesn't have to pretend. And I know what I'm talking about because I do it myself. And then one more layer, because for many people, I am probably one of them, ADHD and the spectrum overlap. Researchers from London and Reykjavik, Young and Collis, published the review of neuropsychiatric disease and treatments in 2023. They showed that in about 21% of people, these two patterns occur together. So it's time to having two different alarms in one house, each with a different sensitivity threshold. One reacts to smoke, the other to movement, and both go off at once at different moments for different reasons. And you're standing in the middle, not knowing which one to turn off first. And in marriage, it looks like there's a quick impulse from ADHD pushes you to react immediately, while the sensory overload from the spectrum tells you to shut down. And your partner sees you blowing up in a moment, going silent the next. They don't know what to expect, and neither do you. Okay, so let's pause here. So far, we talked about what's happening in neurodivergent brain under the stress, the alarm masking, overlapping patterns. Now I want you to show you what it looks like in our living room. So in our kitchen, in our bedroom, I want to show you the mechanism that makes some argument come back and how to break it. So, for example, draw yourself a circle. Now write the steps inside it. Like I will tell you what to draw. So trigger one, like something happens. So your partner forgets something important, or says the wrong thing, or the plan for the day changes, and that's the spark. So then the step two, you get the dysregulation, the alarm of the brain fires, emotions spike above normal or drop below. The body reacts, racing heart, tensions on the shoulder, clenched jaw, and or the opposite, emptiness, numbness, the shutdown. And then there's step 3, the escalation. The neurotypical partner tries to talk, but the neurodivergent partner is already outside the window, so they can't hear, they can't react, or they react too strongly, and then the normal partner loses control too, because they feel ignored or even attacked. Because, imagine being under this continuous stress over and over. So, and there's a step 4. There is a freeze or like explosion. So the other two things: either someone shouts and regrets it afterwards, or someone goes silent, and the other one thinks they don't care. So, and then there's a step 5, like a withdrawal. Both of you concerns silence, distance, maybe even apologies, but without understanding of what really happened. And the last one is step 6, the same trigger, because nothing has changed. Nobody understood the mechanism, and in a week, 2 weeks, the same thing all over again. Sounds familiar? So why the loop doesn't break? The loop comes back because neither of you knows what exactly happened. You see the behavior, the explosion, the silence, the hard feelings, but you don't see what's behind it. The alarm in the brain, the exhaustion from masking, the sensory overload, and you react to the behavior, not to the cause. So the cause stays the same. And then there's a window of tolerance when conversation is possible and when it isn't. Well, there's a concept in psychology called the window of tolerance. Dan Siegel came up with it. Simple idea that every brain has a range within which it is available. Inside that range, inside that window, you can talk, listen, think, respond rationally. Above the window, you are in overdrive, heart pounding, breathing fast, wanting to fight. Obviously, that's not normal, right? So you want to flee or hide somewhere. But below the window, you are in the underdrive, numbness, emptiness, and shut down. So these are the kind of like behaviors. And then normal people, I mean, the neurotypical people, that window is wider. It's more flexible, more fits inside it. The neurodivergent people, that window is often narrower and it closes faster. So here's the key to breaking the loop. When one of you is outside the window, the conversation is impossible, yet we still try to override it. But you have to remember it's impossible. So your partner isn't refusing to talk. It's just the brain has switched off that capacity. And prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logical thinking, for the empathy, for understanding the other person, it just has gone offline. And all is left is just emotional brain, and the emotional brain doesn't discuss, it just reacts. So when you try to have serious conversation with your partner who's outside that window, you're talking to the alarm, to the wall, to the reaction, not to them directly, and nothing good will come out of it. You both have just come out more hurt, or then you went in, and it just doesn't make sense. So how to tell if your partner is outside that window? I mean, practically like a list. So a few concrete signals, remember them, because in the heart of the fight, an argument, you won't have time to look at them. So partner in overdrive, the voice is raised, the rapid breathing, repeating the same sentences over and over, is unable to listen. You say something and they respond, and it's just like something completely different. So out of this word. Tension is in the body, clenched fists, stiff shoulders, like pacing back and forth. So yeah, and then there is underdrive. The underdrive is like eyes down, monotone voice or no voice at all. One word answers. The sense that they don't physically present but mentally somewhere else, and as if they are behind glass. So this doesn't apply in to the ND partner. I mean, neurotypical partner falls out of the window too. I mean, especially after years of living with someone neurodivergent, because their own window narrows from chronic stress, as I mentioned earlier, probably already. And to give you some example of my loops that happens with Monica. Sometimes I plan something like I'm gonna do something like like come back from work and, for example, record podcasts, for example, or do something else. And I have this plan in my head, and I do not want to be disturbed or anything. I just want to do this right now, right here, right this moment, even if the moment is not relevant and it's not the right moment to do so. I'm just gonna have to do it. And then Monica comes, and there's like, oh, change of plans, or I forgotten you have to do something, or something is left unsaid. And I mean, my reactions usually are just like, like nerves come topping of my, like topping the ceiling, basically. And at that point, I'm definitely outside of the window, and I'm like in an overreaction. And I mean, it takes time to understand these behaviors, and it takes time to understand that you have very narrow window, and it just doesn't fix itself even if you just understand it fully. It's a process, and you have to be able to recognize those patterns over and over, and at some point they will gradually come down. But it's not like you just understand it and now quickly you just you just have this understanding and it doesn't happen again. No. So it's exactly the same as yours in many cases. It's just that, yes, the understanding changes the dynamics, but it doesn't fix the problem straight away. It doesn't eliminate the conflict. And then in terms of like masking, because obviously I also do recognize that I'm masking a lot. For example, wiggly toes. I'm wiggling my foot over and over, and there's also like things like, for example, not stressing out. So I always identify the wiggle of my toes like with nervousness, and I always try to hide it because I thought like someone might just think like I'm nervous and I'm lying or something like that. The other is like forcing myself for eye contact, or even for the small talk. Small talk is the worst. I mean, what to even talk about? I mean, it just doesn't work for me, and I have to force myself for the small talk, and I have to force myself for openness and to come to people. Those of you who know me, you know what I'm talking about. So this is the thing for you to remember from this episode more than anything else. We'll be talking about alarms, about loops, about windows and tolerance, about how the neurodivergent brain reacts more intensely and faster, how masking drains you, how conflicts get stuck in the loop. And you might have the impression that neurodiversity in marriage is just purely a problem to be solved. But that's only the half of the story. So 2021, researchers at the university in Brazil, Source and colleagues, published a study in Frontiers of Psychiatry. They tested 306 adults with ADHD on the spectrum and neurotypical, and they gave them a test called the Passionate Love Scale to measure the passionate love. And the result was just incredible. People with ADHD and with combined ADHD and spectrum score higher than neurotypical people. I think I mentioned that already to you in the first episode. So intensity of the emotion that makes the alarm fire go too quickly, that reactivity that makes the agreement escalate in seconds, it doesn't work in only one direction. It works in also a different other direction. When the neurodivergent brain loves, it loves more intensely, more deeply, more passionately, and the same brain, the same mechanism. I mean, the question is just like which way the energy flows. So when you don't understand what is happening in your brain, the energy goes into explosions, into loops, into pain. But if you become understanding this problem, the same energy goes to love, to present, and into devotion. So this is why this series isn't just about fixing the brain. It's about learning to dance with it. And I want you to try one thing this week. Next time you feel like argument starting, just stop. Don't react straight away. Just ask yourself one question. Is my partner in the window of tolerance right now? And am I in the window of tolerance? If not, then just stop talking. Say we need like 20 minutes, or make the agree or on shared signal, something like scratching your nose or the rosary on your finger, and just say like, I need 20 minutes. Go and pray a rosary, or just just meditate for a minute. Don't argue in your brain. We talked about this in the book of arguments. And in this condition of any conversation, it's just impossible to happen at all. So you have to pause for a minute. I'll be back. Just pause for a minute. And one more thing. We have prepared a checklist for you, common conflict loops in neurodivergent marriages and how to recognize them. And it's free. So go to notprofound.com, download it. You can print it and stick it to your bridge, or read it together one evening, because knowledge obviously is just the beginning, but there are tools for the next steps. And the next episode 3, Monica will be here with me, hopefully. We'll be talking about what it means to be a neurotypical partner of someone who's neurodivergent, what it means to love someone whose presence is the word differently, and what it means to feel lonely in a marriage, and even when your partner is genuinely trying. This is the episode for those of you who have been carrying the load of years and you don't know if anyone sees how much it costs. So Monica sees it, and hopefully she will be able to tell you about it. So I encourage you to go through our previous episodes of More Than a Happy Marriage. Each one gives you the practical tools. Visit our website, notprofound.com. And most important thing, leave a comment. So if you recognize the conflict loop in your marriage, if it looks like it's you, what triggers it, your comments directly shape the content of this next episode and any episode, to be honest. So if this episode hits home, send it to husband or wife or someone who actually needs it. It's not accusation, it's invitation. Listen to this with me. We want us to understand us together. And see you in the next episode. Let's build these beautiful, intentional marriages.